Hello and welcome to Newsnight. I'm Ladi Akeredoluwale. It's our pleasure to have you join us. Nigeria's democracy journey and its many twists and turns comes into focus today. From insecurity to constitutional amendments to fiscal federalism, the schisms between federal and state governments continue to make continually tough problems even tougher. Newsnight talks to the governor of Nigeria's south-south state of Akwa Ibom, Udom Emmanuel. Your Excellency, thank you for your time. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ladi.
Let's begin at the national level because that's where I think everything that percolates down to states and indeed other levels of government kick off from. I want to begin with what everybody talks about now because they have no choice, security. Most people, I was having a conversation with someone this morning who said a lot of people who would never have entered an aircraft have no choice now because they can't go on the roads in many parts of the country due to a variety of things. What's your take? Because I know Akwa Ibom has had its own share, albeit not as much as some other states, but it's had its own share of this security challenges. What's your general take about what's happening nationally?
Ladi, let me start this way because as I'm sitting here, I sit on the platform of my people. I normally like to, first of all, appreciate my people for giving me a platform to speak. I'm speaking here today as governor of Akwa Ibom State, and people gave me the mandate to be here. So I start, first of all, by appreciating my people, appreciating their support, and also thanking them for the support. Because when you say we had a fair share, people coming in must have also done a lot of good to just make sure that it's not as bad as it could have been. So I really want to thank all Akwa Ibomites, those in Akwa Ibom, those outside Akwa Ibom, within Nigeria, and those in the diaspora. I always say I appreciate your support, I appreciate your love for me. I thank the faith for their prayers, and I really believe they will continue to pray for us. Coming back to the issue of security and this country, Ladi, I want to put it in this perspective. Every single person has a role to play. It's not just something of, because when people make mistake, government. In democracy, well, fine. They are the policy makers. They are the administrators. And then there are also those who implement. So when people lay some of the blames, fine. How do we communicate even what we are trying to execute matters a whole lot? Because it's not just people are saying if our youth to engage. No. Even in the modern times, you see COVID-19 has taught us a whole lot. That even that physical engagement, it's going somewhere now. It might not necessarily still, people could sit anywhere and still work anywhere. Look at what ICT is getting to do. Those who write a lot of these apps, a lot of them sit in their one-room apartment and do a whole lot. And before you know it, they earn a whole lot of money. So, and I'm also one person that believe that the so-called, in quote, unemployment is not even the problem, that we're facing today, but it's capacity building. That's where we're having a problem. If we think it's unemployment of our youth, no, it might not really be. Can we build capacity? A lot of the nations you know, even in the Far East, how many of them are graduates? How many of them have attended universities? Let's even come back, even to Europe, how many of them had attended universities? The way we do in Nigeria, we go through secondary school, some of us go through intermediate, we write A-levels and so on. We go to university, come out, how many of them? But look at, so even in terms of capacity building, have we even gotten it right? We need to also check from the national level so that it can trickle down. And coming back now to look at our primary responsibility as government and as people, what are our own security apparatus that we're using? What are the agencies of security we are using? What's the synergy between administrators, policymakers, and then the operators? Have we even established that? How many times are we even on our own? The same way we call other conferences, call ourselves to sit down. Their ideas might matter a whole lot. Do we think the structure, because you see, security, things change very, very fast. The same way human brain works. So the trajectory that we're working on 15, 20 years ago might not still be useful today. I had a meeting with some of my security guys. I told them that we're getting into an era where intelligence will play a lot more than that physical combat. We need to do a whole lot more. So things are changing. Have we ever bothered to check from these people to be able to redefine and reappraise the structure that we have on ground? Can this structure still work under the modern security architecture? I don't think we've done that. I don't think we've done that. And unfortunately, I sit as a state governor. I mentioned this earlier. I said as a state governor, my police commissioner is only in charge of the police command. He doesn't even control the mopol in the state. I have 2 mopol bases here, 26 and 57. They are not reporting to my police commissioner. Can that still work again? Do we actually check that? That's also, so I know everything is not money, 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 money. At times we also need to tap knowledge and ideas from even the operatives and see what can we do better. And also, how can we even motivate these people? It's not all money that could just be motivation. Motivation could also come purely out of recognition. So, there are a few basic things that might not necessarily follow the exoteric, big boss, something that people just talk about all the time. Those are big issues. Let's even come back to the basic things. I've listened to a lot of people, a lot of school of thoughts about this present security challenges. I just want to make an appeal. Let's redefine, let's reappraise, and then see where the structure is not working well for us. And then also go back to all the conferences, all the summits, all the security. We've done so many. We've done a lot of security seminars and conferences. How many have we executed? The problem with us is we speak so much and we execute very, very little. From what you're thinking and from what you're seeing, the problem with this whole matter might just be a very simple solution. Might just be a simple solution. But I also want to use this platform to appeal to our youths. Please, let's open communication channel. We are just human beings like you. No man knows it all. For the fact that I'm the governor does not mean I know it all. Open communication channel and let's communicate. What hurts you should be able to hurt me because you put me here. So the Bible says, come, let us reason together. Let's discuss. What's that thing that hurts you? I may not have a solution. But you also, don't tell me what only, tell me how. So that we can also work together. And I think with that, we can make a little bit of progress. But it's not just like, oh, every day, because I'm a governor, I just pump. No, not at all. Please, I'm appealing to the youths. Open communication channel with us. And let's discuss. Let's also reason together. Let's know what hurts you. I mean, because the country belongs to everybody. And for the fact that you voted me here, it's just for a moment of 8 years, but I should also make use of that time to serve you well. I'm here to serve you. So when you block communication and then use another means to tell me that you're not happy, I don't think you're completely right in that manner. And let also everybody, as I said earlier, take responsibility about what is happening today. From the guardian to the parents to the mother to the teachers to the pastors, everybody, no exception. At times I just see people just sitting down, in different, I don't want to mention the group, everything, blame. It cannot work because the other person you're blaming can also in turn start blaming you. Oh, that you're supposed to have taught this person this, but you didn't teach him. You also failed. Oh, you keeping faith, you that God gave this assignment to do. It's called divine assignment. Did you do it well? Because if you've done it well, the society would have been where we are today. So it's not a function of blame, but I'm making an appeal. Our youths, please open up communication channel. Let's know what hurts you. I mean, those are genuine concerns. Then there are another category which we need to also find out because I'm meant to understand. Know me, I limit myself to what I know. This one I don't know, but it gets back to me because of my position. That there are some of these also hoodlums who are not Nigerians. Then that's where we'll also need to come in as government. What must we do better concerning security of our borders? What must we do better? What must we also deploy better? And mind you, Ladi, as an oil-producing state, we've made a whole lot of sacrifices in order to see these things work. All the 9 states who are oil-producing, because it's our money. They're also using to fund a lot of this equipment. It's our money. Even today, I'm sure you are aware, even the so-called petroleum subsidy.
Right.
If you go by constitution, we bear the brunt of it. So,
yes, because you're supposed to benefit.
absolutely. We're supposed to benefit 13% derivation of that. So let's also check, because we made a lot of sacrifices. I mean, we come, what's supposed to come to us, oh, we're using to buy military equipment and so on. Let's also make sure, as we buy, we deploy. As we deploy well. Anywhere, even in elementary aspect, I'm not an expert here, elementary aspect of what they throw us taught when we were in school, those things shouldn't just be wasted at this point. I think should also be deployed. The theory, the principle, and so on, we were taught in school, can also do a whole lot of work. I remember when we were taught operations research, there's a whole lot there to be deployed in the real sense of it. I'm sure all the military, they've also done it. So let's also see what can we do, I mean, in terms of our borders. That's a different category I'm talking about now. The so-called hoodlums who are not Nigerians, who are just coming to destabilize where we are now. Let's also do a lot of intelligence. Why are they coming here? Before they reach here, some of them pass other countries. Why so much here? Why are they coming here? Who is inviting them? Who is sponsoring them? You know, these things are not, they are not as hidden as we are making it fine. Finally, on this matter, let us all be sincere. There's nothing as good as a sincere heart.
The point that you've made about the element of sincerity also speaks to the fact that if it was a purely security matter,
yeah,
and all those involved treated it as such, perhaps some of the things you've mentioned might have been arrived at possibly sooner.
possible.
But because politics has also come into it, the politics of ethnicity, north-south, party, and so on. And I'll give you an example just to illustrate what I'm talking about. You were amongst the 17 southern governors who met, and it was agreed that you were going to put a stop to the whole issue of open grazing, because some of the people you talked about who come from outside come behind cattle. Some of those who actually own cattle have said those people are not herders because they don't own any cattle. They follow us. You banned open grazing, and I'm talking, I don't mean you personally,
Yeah,
I mean the southern governors.
Correct, I know.
And then there was the argument, the counter-argument, if you like, that no, you couldn't. That decision by your forum stood on quote and unquote questionable legal grounds. That was what was said. Essentially, that it couldn't be done, that there's freedom of movement. Of course, some immediately said, well, yes, the Southerners have said this, the Northerners are the ones who are saying the other thing. Does this speak to the sincerity that you spoke about earlier on and the absence of it, especially because when it comes to matters of security, as you've just pointed out, for it to be solved in a way that is sustainable, you must pull out politics from it. Everybody talks about that. No, I mean, when it comes to security, let's keep our politics. But in reality, Your Excellency, we both know that in reality, people are not able to keep out politics. We are where we are, largely, according to some of your colleagues, because of the politics that has not enabled people move in a way that can tackle this sustainability. So how does one deal with that if we are not able to remove the politics from it?
If I want to follow your own path of probably working on the information that you have, I would say, well, as certain governors, 17 of us, we took that decision, and people reacted. They did not respond. That's another difference. You don't react to matters of security. You respond to get a better result. There's a difference between reaction and response. People just reacted anyhow. They don't respond. The question there is, this Nigeria, how were we 20 years ago? What has changed? The quality of beef we were even eating then could have even been more, much better than what we're taking right now. Even the money they made then might even be much more. So what has changed? Which is why I'm trying to say, if I told your path of information, not intelligence, so what has changed? Because at that time, 20 years ago, if I'm a cassava farmer in Akwa Ibom, I grow my cassava. And when I harvest my cassava, I come to you. You buy my gari, I buy your meat. And everybody lived peaceably, and there was no issue. So why all of a sudden did that become an issue? Because that's what it used to be. Our grandfathers, they never experienced this. Our fathers, our grandfathers were all farmers. They didn't wake up one morning and their entire farmland had been destroyed. No, it did not happen. They grew their yam, they grew their cassava, they grew other vegetables, and they brought it to the market. You do your own, in your own place. And then we are same brothers and sisters. No issue. No issue. So if I'm good in fishing, I'm in the water, please don't come to the water and then pour chemical, gamalin, and then kill the fish. You don't want me to survive. That's the question. I think that's what, in a very simple layman's understanding. Let's go back. Not too far, 20 years ago. Laddie, how did we survive it? That's how we survived it. At least at my age, you should know that I saw these things very, very well. I saw these things. So if that had worked for us that time, what has changed now, Laddie? What has changed now? What's the problem? So at my position, I don't want to follow the threads of those information. Then let me also take you back memory lane. You know, a whole lot of people agitating these things now. I don't know who is teaching them history. Laddie, I may have been a very young man, but I remember, especially in this area, what we went through in the 67, 68,
69, 70.
70, till even much later part of 70. Can we forget so soon? Which country had ever gone through that and is better off? Those who are agitating for this, what do they want from us? Do they really love us? Do they really love the country? Do they really love the people? Are they real leaders? Or it's just a camouflage? You see, these are questions begging for answers. These are pertinent questions begging for answers. So nobody would wish us where people are talking about now. Nobody would wish us where they are trying to push us to. Not at all. And I really, really want still again to make an appeal. Please, our communication channels are open. Whoever is hurting, talk to us. And let's see how we can move from here.
That brings me to the next issue, which is related to two things.
Thank you.
The first is what you talked about, the communication channels, opening communication channels. The other has to do with what changed. Yeah. The question you asked about what changed.
Absolutely.
Right now, the country is undergoing a constitutional amendment process. This is not the first that we've done since 1999.
Correct.
But it appears as if the previous ones have not held so much at stake as this one, particularly because of the things that are happening around this one. You mentioned the fact that you are chief security officer of the state, so you're responsible for security in the state. But virtually none of the security agencies whose job it is to ensure that security reports to you.
Yeah.
That is a function of the law. So if you are amending the Constitution, this could be the kind of things that people could be interested in, apart from issues of electoral reform and all the other devolution of powers, more money coming down in terms of revenue allocation to the states and all of that. I wonder, particularly because in the recent past, and this time this is not information, Your Excellency, this is fact. The last time there was an attempt to amend the Constitution to devolve power and more resources down, it was defeated at the National Assembly. And I remember speaking to one of your colleagues who said to me, I don't understand what happened because members of the National Assembly are supposed to be close to the governors of their states.
Correct.
If that is the case, how did this get defeated? Because this is a political advantage for the states and, in the long run, for the country. We're doing it again. But the security situation is not letting many people focus on what is happening at the constitutional amendment fora, which are ongoing. What do you think we should do? If I say to you, mention 2 or 3 key areas that in your position today as governor, you think will help the country and will help states, of which yours is one, to be more viable in their primary objective of keeping the people happy and giving them the dividends of democracy, what will those be?
Yeah, Laddie, thank you. I will answer that question in 2 or 3 different perspectives. Number 1, you can do the right thing at the wrong time, and then you get the wrong result. So the question we're asking ourselves, I will ask myself as a governor, which aspect of the Constitution today is not allowing me to perform my function as a governor? That's the question I will ask. Then number two, I will refuse to go into the issue of constitutional review. I will first of all tell National Assembly, first thing first, for Nigerians to have confidence in what they are doing. For common man, I'm not speaking as a governor now, I'm speaking as a common man, which you know. I'm speaking as somebody from the village, which you know. I'm speaking now as a common man. Laddie, for people to have confidence in going back now to do constitutional amendment and so on, National Assembly must first of all pass the electoral bill. That's why you see people are not participating. Every day you are calling us out. Memoranda, memoranda. Sorry. Some of us don't go to the polls because we are hoping that the electoral bill, that you pass it and will make us go to the polls. And elect people in a way will be satisfied. We won't be disgruntled. We won't think, oh, something happened somewhere. No, not at all. We've done that. Show us that you mean business. Show us that sincerity first. Not that if we do this one, what's the guarantee that you go and pass what we want you to pass? The one that we did, you made so much announcement about the electoral bill. Laddie, up to today, it has not seen light of day. So that alone had eroded the confidence and the trust of people in starting to keep submitting a lot of memoranda again under the constitutional review. We need to correct that first. Because you can do the right thing, but at the wrong time and at the wrong environment. The environment now does not support what they are doing. What environment wants now is pass the electoral bill. Let's even first of all know that, because this one is time bad. You know that. So let us even know that, look, in the next few months from now, our votes will count. Then we'll be sure that if we do this one, we'll also get it right. I believe, this is my personal opinion. Personal as Udom Emmanuel now. I'm not speaking for my people. Personal opinion. I think the reason we are seeing people not so much interested is because if I listen to what they are speaking to my ears, is that National Assembly passed the electoral bill. Let's know that once we suffer ourselves, travel all around the region to, to contribute to this one, you will also pass it. I think that's where, if that is done, then you can now come back to this one. Let us not just carry so many things. That's our problem. We just carry so many things at the same time, and we end up not actually doing one to the appropriate end. Let's take this one to a proper end. You never can tell. A lot of problems that you have that we think are constitutional might not be. The day we get this one corrected, it might not really be. Because let me tell you something about man. Every man knows what is right and what is wrong. Some may do the wrong thing out of ignorance, because Paul Apostle said so. Paul Apostle said so. He told us in Acts of the Apostle. I say, not that Paul wasn't educated. Paul was very educated. He said, I did it out of ignorance in unbelief. In unbelief. Ignorance and unbelief. So, every man, I think, we know the right thing to do. A whole lot of us who are custodians of policies, a whole lot of us who are administrators, you see, your vision is limited to your exposure. So many of us are exposed. So we know the right thing to do. And what is right is right. What is wrong, my brother. There are certain things that is not necessarily, Constitution will never capture everything. Constitution of any country has never captured everything, has never been 100% perfect. Let us not look for a perfect constitution, we'll never have it. No country on planet Earth has a perfect constitution. What's supposed to be perfect is the heart of man, the conscience of man. So the day we mortgage that, no matter how nice our constitution, all these people, all of us, even let's see the discipline that we go through. Leave this country today, go to anywhere. See how all of us will stand on the queue, carry our bags. But once we come to Nigeria, we leave it. Is it that we don't know what is right? We don't know. It's not an issue of constitution. But let the National Assembly, first of all, go and give us electoral bill. That's the one we're asking for. Give us electoral bill. And let that electoral bill be signed to law. Then come back to constitutional review. If you are starting from this one now, trying to confuse. We don't accept that confusion, laddie. And we don't accept the fact of that distraction. It's not only confusion, it's a distraction. At this time, it's a distraction.
But Your Excellency, you're saying it's a distraction, but everybody. I was one of those in the minority when it all started, asking the question, why are we discussing 2023? We're still in, at that time, we were still in 2020, just before COVID came.
Correct.
Of course, COVID threw a lot of people off course, but then now that it seems as if we are getting a hang of it, the vaccine is out, we are back. Everybody's talking about.
Giving credit to the vaccine instead of thanking God.
Okay, I thank God too.
That's what you should do.
I must also point out, Your Excellency, that you are making a lot of biblical references. I think for the purpose of the viewers, I need to let them know you are also a deacon of the church.
No.
So when they hear you say so, because usually politicians don't quote Bible verses the way you are.
No, it's not just that. You see, whatever takes you to the top is what you hold on to. It's not a function of title. I need to also correct that. Because a lot of people make mistake. Bishop, archbishop, this one title, imam, this one. No, it's whatever takes you to the top is what you hold on to. And that's the principle of life. Check any human being, either negative or positive. It's what takes him to the top that what he's hold on to. That's number one. Then number two, at my level, my age, I've come to find out, I've read so many leadership books on planet Earth. The most complete leadership book I've ever seen is the Holy Book.
The Bible.
The Holy Books, yeah. If you are a Muslim, the Quran. If you are a Christian, the Holy Bible. There are no two leadership books on planet Earth that will pass the Holy Books at all. If you are a Muslim, the Quran will give you everything you need under leadership. If you are a Christian, anything you need to be taught. There's no principle of leadership in any business school on planet Earth that I cannot point out to you in the Bible.
So but then how come we've gotten it so wrong, Governor? Because if we all hold on to what got us to where we are, particularly in terms of success, why do people...
Because what gets us to the top, not all are positive. Some are negative, some are positive. Because they both grow together. That's what they say. That the two shall grow together until the day of the harvest.
Yeah, but then how do we know the difference? Because everybody is quoting the good.
We know.
Everybody is quoting the good.
We know.
Many people in your position also quote the same.
We know. If we know, if we don't know, how come the other ones operate in the dark? These other ones operate in the light. That makes the difference.
We don't find out that they operate in the dark.
Because you are not there. Because another time, bloody, you are sleeping. You are sleeping.
If
so you are not meant to know.
Sleeping.
Sorry?
I said if it's happening in the dark, I should be sleeping. Because at that time, people in the light should
because
sleep.
You are not there. Forget that word on this platform. Because you see, some are positive, some are negative. But you see, God allows the two to grow together.
I ask that because of the role that religion plays in politics. Rather than you use it to mobilize people towards a common objective, what we have found as the experience is that when people do their calculations, particularly political calculations, they come away with the impression that, okay, if this group is numerous enough, and in democracy it's about numbers, then we need to whip up this group against those who may not necessarily be our friends or support us politically, so that these people are so fired up, they're prepared to do even damage to this other group. But provided the principal person who is the beneficiary does that, he or she doesn't care what happens to the other group in the process. That's been our experience. Again, I go back to the difference between fact and truth. So this time, let me say that this is the truth. This is what we found out.
Ladi, you may be right. Unfortunately, we can't understand God in totality. God is just so awesome, so much that we still try to understand him. And in the two holy books I quoted, you see, it will tell you that when the wicked do prosper. So why does he use that word? It means there are certain wicked acts that are allowed to prosper. The two holy books will tell you that when the wicked do prosper, it is that they might be destroyed. The day of destruction, you don't know. It's in God's hands. He never can.
And they would have caused a great deal of havoc before that happens.
Absolutely. So it's a little bit complex to be able to unearth and then try to discuss that. So what you do is to try and make sure you keep faith to the truth. And I know you said religion has a whole lot to play in politics? Of course. Who controls the power? All power belongs to the Almighty. He controls the power, and he gives it to whoever he wants to give it to. And that doesn't mean the wicked part of it won't still be there. But, no matter what happens, well, that's why God, the two holy books will tell you that we must pray for those who are in authority. At times when you see people blame, even including those that are supposed to be praying, did they say blame? They say pray. So why are you two, you're not doing the right thing. So why are you blaming the man who is not also doing the right? Because you two, you're not doing the right thing. They didn't say blame. There's nothing wrong in constructive criticism. But don't never make that mistake, laddie, to think any man knows it all or any man is perfect.
Most of what we've spoken about up till now has very little meaning for most people. Let me use your phrase, the common people.
Correct.
If it doesn't put food on the table, if
Absolutely.
it doesn't improve their lifestyle
Absolutely.
or improve their standard of living. You're an accountant by training. And so I know you have a deep understanding.
I'm a businessman by training.
You're also a banker. And I often wonder when people like that, who have that background, go into government, into governance, how it shapes them. What do I mean? Everywhere you look, you talked about it earlier when you mentioned the issue of unemployment. People put a lot on unemployment, the fact that there are so many people who could be otherwise engaged who are not. And therefore they have time to pursue a number of things which if they were employed, they probably wouldn't. But beyond that, you find that we hear all sorts of things, leakages, gaps in governance. You mentioned the petroleum subsidy just now, and the fact that states like yours suffer as a result of that directly.
Correct.
There are other such leakages in the system that take away a great deal of resources. Which brings me to the question, we've had 2 recessions in the last 5 years or so.
Serious one.
As it stands now, some of those who sat where you are sitting now have told me that if we don't solve the economic question or the economic challenge that the country faces, whatever law you make will not matter, because a hungry man has very limited access to be able to logically reason anything at all until he has eaten. And many of those in the country right now are not in that category of those who are capable of logical reasoning because they're quite hungry. What do we do about solving our economic challenge? Let me take it to the state level. Many states, I don't know what the situation in Akwa Ibom is, but you could tell us, took bailout funds from the federal government in 2016. Some others even took other funds later to help stabilize things because many of them were on the verge of bankruptcy. Today, the situation is repeating itself. There are states that are laying off workers, civil servants. They're laying off civil servants. Capital projects are stalled because you don't have access to money. Let's not even go into pensions and gratuities and all of that. So it's like every day you wake up as a government official, but you can do nothing because there's nothing with which to. What's your thinking about that, especially because of the background from which you came? And what are we to do with honesty of purpose? I'm quoting you now.
Sincerity of purpose.
Sincerity of purpose to address this.
Laddie, if you are taking me back now to economic issues,
Right.
it could take us another 6 hours. We can't exhaust it. Number one, I'm also trying to be very careful because if I speak so much now, they will say, no, PDP, speaking against, that's where that information you gave me about policy comes in. If you speak now, PDP, speaking against the government.
Okay, so maybe you're accepting to some extent that I'm not just giving information.
No,
there's an
that
aspect
was
of
on security, but this one is on economy. This one is on economy.
Okay, so am I speaking the truth? Or
this one is on economy.
Okay.
This one is on economy. You may be right to a large extent that we need to fix the economy. Why will we do that? Because we wake up one morning, we see that the countries that their economies are doing well, they don't face the kind of teething problems that we have. So it has a major role to play. I'm one of the believers, strong believers, that if we can fix our economic problems, our political problems will be easily, because a lot of people, Don't go too far. You are in Lagos. So many people are busy in the private sector, in the rest of them. I don't know the local government that you stay, but I can bet it. If you know, it's because you interact with everybody. But a common, sorry, let me not say a common man, a professional who wakes up in the morning, goes to Victoria Island, works and comes out, might not even know the name of the local government chairman. Might not even know the name of the chapter chairman of his political party. But if you land airport in Uyo and tell the taxi driver that you're going to the house of a PDP chairman, the taxi driver will tell you, okay, he will only tell you the number of minutes he will take you to the place. He will take you straight to his house. If you ask him, I'm going to the house of the local government chairman, Uyo local government chairman, he will tell you his name, if possible, give you his background, and he take you to his house. So economy, where am I coming back from? Economy has a whole lot. Whereas, if you live in Shomolu, how many people live in Shomolu that know the house where the chairman of Shomolu lives? That even know his name? That even know whether he goes to work or not? So, where the economy is doing well, the people tend to be less involved in other matters because they are spread all around. And as we keep building the economy and paying, so much into that, you see that what is also happening there could happen here. You see, over there, the government depends on people to survive. But here, people depend on government to survive. Two different scenarios. Over there, government depends on people. I was just following up certain trend. During the COVID, the governor of New York came lamenting that New York was making $16.2 billion United States dollars as internal revenue in 1 month. How much is our foreign reserves? Put the economy of the entire West Africa. How many of us make $16.2 billion in 1 month? The whole of West Africa put together in 1 month. So, that speaks volume. And you said, what should we do? What should we do are numerous. It doesn't all begin and end with government. First of all, we need to also shape our mindset. We need to also work on the mindset of our people. That's why somebody like me, immediately I came into power, I went on what I call a moral rebirth. And we started what we call a Dakata philosophy. I rise to the faith of greatness. And what does that tell me? I rise to the faith that all things, with God, all things are possible. I rise to the faith. What that tells me is that what I have is all that I need to achieve what I need to achieve. Number two, that nobody has the monopoly of God. Number three, once the passion is right, nothing is impossible. So we need to work on that moral rebirth. Why am I saying this, laddie? If I take you back, I like giving this example over and over. You see, we were taught in philosophy class, for something to sink, you must say it 16 times. I've not said this up to 16 times on a live program. So I keep saying it. I'll keep saying it. When we were much younger, when I was in secondary school, I was wearing playtime to school. Who made playtime? Either Leonards or Bata. When we buy anything that is made in Nigeria, we say it's a bar made. When we buy it offshore, we say it's made in Taiwan. When something is not of that high quality.
Not of grade.
Yeah, we say it's made in Taiwan. We lost our faith. They kept their faith. Today, even the economic giants are envious of them. You heard over time. I mean, if I'm wrong, it means CNN is wrong. I saw it clearly written there that Biden says never in his time that the economy of China will be stronger and bigger than the economy of US. In those days, could China speak where America was speaking? Economically, today now, they are challenged. That's why you see all this abracadabra. I'm going now into international economic...
I understand.
Political economy. So, you see that abracadabra. Huawei, today, they are banning, disbanning. They cannot. Well, how long will it take for Apple to relocate out of China back to America? It will take a whole lot. It's not easy to take those things back. Why? Economy. And how did they start? Domestic economy. A country of 200 million people will have a whole lot. But it will start from moral rebirth. Those things we used to do that were helping us, we're not doing them again. Everywhere now. Do you know the thing now? If you see a new building, The man can put 10 shops under that building. All those 10 shops, were enriching the Asian tigers. Everybody, commerce, trade, and so on. Nobody's thinking. And this only country, you see one man, there's a place I entered. Oh my God, you needed to see the number of vehicles the man parked in the compound. And something just came into my mind. I said, if I can talk to this man, that he can convert some of these vehicles and buy me tractors to put in my farmland in Akwa Ibom, I will harvest so much cassava and will feed a lot of people. Will feed a lot of people. So that's why I say it's a total approach. Everybody, we must make up our mind, say, hey, this is what we want to do. And everybody must move towards that. I'm not kidding. Because government can't do it all alone, laddie. As I'm sitting down here now, I have so much in my brain I would have done for agri revolution with my people. And I know with agri, I can establish so many industries. But do you know, in the tropics that we are, laddie, you need to know how much it costs you to clear 1 hectare of land in this area. You might see a farmland. By the time you go in, you know there are some stubs of roots of trees that have been, as they clear that farmland every year, they don't uproot. So those roots have been there for over 100 years. So whenever you try to clear that in a modern farming, modern science, to uproot those things, to clear 1 kilometer, you'll be hard pressed to see a contractor that will take 250,000 naira from you. How much profit are you going to make if you are a small farmer? How much can the government do? If you spend all that to clear, how many hectares can you clear? When after clearing, you now start looking for the inputs. Then you now start paying for labor. And then, mind you, there are other environmental factors.
Right.
The people who are working on this thing, we've not actually done enough training based on the modern. So it's a whole lot for everybody to do. Let's even start from somewhere. Let's even have that moral rebate that we believe in ourselves, that what we have is all that we need. We can also do the same way those guys did. What happened in China? They were not even exporting those things again. They had a huge economy of over 1 billion people. They were producing for domestic economy. In the course of meeting the demands of domestic economy, they were able to achieve the quality that were exportable. And today, they dominate. So, it's a whole lot. It's no more too much talk. Let's do something.
Speaking of talk, I'm sorry to jump in here, but speaking of talk that you mentioned, you're one of those who, many people are surprised to find that you spent 6 years in office because you don't speak much.
Sure.
Yet, there are certain things you're doing in Akwa Ibom State. And I'm using that now to bring you to the state.
Okay.
You mentioned now agriculture.
Correct.
Of course, your most prominent venture, never mind that I'm the one saying that, is Ibom Air, because people get to see that everywhere.
No, because you see, because that impacts all Nigerians.
Yes, because that is not only for Akwa Ibom people.
No, it impacts all Nigerians. When I say Nigerians, in quote,
right,
that's anybody who is in Nigeria, because we are only domestic.
That's it. But of course, you have other plans for Ibom Air.
Okay.
But I'm also talking about now, I want to see what the nexus is between a number of the things you're doing.
Correct.
There's the deep sea port.
Correct.
There's the agricultural revolution.
Correct.
It was being pointed out to me that, there's greenhouse farming that you're doing, under which people are learning how to plant crops they didn't believe could be planted in Akwa Ibom.
Correct.
At the same time, you're trying to attract the
foreign investors
into Akwa Ibom. The international oil companies who so far claim that, there's the infrastructure to support them if they move to the oil producing areas is not there.
Correct.
You have your smart building. And then the Dakada philosophy you mentioned earlier. I'm trying to establish what the link between all this is in your mind, because this is your vision.
Correct. I can link it up with you easily. You mentioned the deep sea port. You mentioned the aviation development. I don't just want to call it Ibom Air. I call it aviation development. Because Ladi is not only Ibom Air. You see, at times people don't know that, airport terminal building is not just Aluko bond brings it. No, it's what is smart in that building that makes, aviation, that's why I call it aviation development, aviation in Nigeria, different. And it's not just that. It's not just the terminal building. If you go now, we're working day and night on our MRO, maintenance, repair, and overhaul hangar. Because it's a total, I'm trying to link all for you.
I understand.
Then, you come back, if not for the setback with all, typical African style. Not everybody understands where you're going to. A whole lot of people writing to our investors, telling them not to come, there's community this, there's that. A whole lot of petitions. So a whole lot of investors are almost developing cold feet because of petitions over the deep sea port. We would have gone far also with that right now. But we are still progressing. What has that, how can I link the nexus? The man who is a major agri farmer, a major rice farmer, who knows that his output here will be almost equal to what he does there if he brings the right seedlings and then we put the right fertilizer, it will come because he has environment that he can do that. He knows he has infrastructure. He knows he can come in and he can come out. He knows KLM can come and land here. He knows if he comes in his private jet, one of the richest set of human beings are farmers in developed nations.
Right.
So many of them have private jets. He knows if he lands in his private jet in Uyo, and that private jet needs a minor maintenance, there's a maintenance, repair, and overhaul hangar. He's not scared of getting trapped here. So he knows the environment is right for him to do business. So he can come and set up his mechanized farming here. Our people will benefit, our environment will benefit. And also, he doesn't even need to export it because he knows Nigeria has the market, 200 million people that can feed from. Akwa Ibom alone is 7.2 million people. How many countries of the world can boast of 7.2 million people? So he has the mouth to feed. So that's trying to link up the nexus.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your time.
Thank you, sir.
That's NewsNight. Thanks for watching. Do let us know what you think of this conversation and much more. Our social media handles are on your screen. You can also watch this and previous episodes of the program via our podcast. Please visit our website, channelstv.com/podcast. I'm Ladi Akere Duluale. Goodbye.